Saying that you need to start this relationship before you actually need to leverage it. And I get that, because I have my good friend Donna that lives next door. If she came over and knocked on my door and said, "Your barn is on fire," I would kind of look at her half crazy, because I have no idea and I have no relationship of trust with her. So that I kind of get that on a fundamental level. But what I'm trying to understand better is, how do you make inroads to that relationship of trust? Like right now we have a Dr. Pepper. You can become a fan of Dr. Pepper on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Is that a good inroad? Is there more that we could be doing, should be doing? How do we build that relationship?
How do you reward your fans? Do you let them know that, next Thursday you're going to have a special at a certain place at a certain time? Becoming a fan on Facebook is a great first step. The city of Seattle put up a Facebook page almost a year and a half ago, and it's got 25,000 fans, and they just put up a page. But they're not doing anything to nurture that. So start to nurture. Think about if your neighbor came over once and said, "Hi, I'm your neighbor," walked away and you never saw her again. That's your first step. That is what you've done by putting up a Facebook page and inviting people to become fans. If you want to really start to nurture them, you create events for them to play with. You offer them specials. Get a coupon here. Sur La Table signed up, created a Facebook page. They update it once a week. Within the first day, they had 14,000 fans by offering a special 5% off coupon for something in the store. It's a great way to bridge online and offline traffic. But think about how you'd like to be treated. It's not enough to just put up a page. You start to have a relationship by making offers, asking questions. People love, do you like Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper or Dr. Pepper? Imagine if your researchers could get 14,000 people today like Dr. Pepper over Diet Dr. Pepper. Wow, So try some fun things.
I read today that there are almost as many bloggers in the United States, paid bloggers, as there are lawyers. So it's a really interesting statistic, and it really kind of caused me to pause and say, okay, so in the 80s, the Ralph Nader days, we were highly influenced by lawyers in food and beverage products specifically, right? Product safety. So now, what role are these bloggers going to play, and how do we engage them in the conversation?
I was just to build on your question, and also what Janet was saying, is that part of the listening strategy, once you start a listening strategy, you'll start to know who your brand advocates are and your big brand detractors. Who are the people that have the biggest megaphone out there for your brand? And by listening to what they're saying, and maybe not outreach right away, but to let them know that you're hearing them, empower them. That's the thing about blogging, it's very empowering. To keep it on a way that, in a sense that, if you jump in too quick, it's not going to be authentic and it's going to backfire. I mean, that's happened, and that it does continue to happen. So, while the Facebook page it's a great first step, that, Janet talking about, take it, just eke it a step further, try to make sure that you're there for the consumer, soliciting feedback in as many ways as you can, because that's what they want. They want you to know, they want to know that you hear them, right?
Okay. First, I think you need to approach this strategically. This is not something that you got a 23-year-old who's got infinity to this stuff, and you have them do it for you. Which is sort of where things were 15, 20 years ago with the internet. Websites. You got to approach it strategically and say, what's our current state? What's our desired state? How do we get there? What kind of investments are required? What kind of resources do we need, and what kind of goals should we set, and have steps along the way, and then look at the tools, look at the various platforms within blogs and social media, and so forth. And there are a lot of tools out there, like influencer network analysis kind of tool, where you can sort of define who are the influential bloggers and who are the influential people in the conversation, key opinion leaders. And make an investment, see it as a strategic objective as opposed to sort of just another ad hoc or random activity.
And I have to just tell a quick story, if I might, just to underscore this. I published an article on a blog that was picked up by a social media journal, and it was the 5 phases of social media marketing. Because there are, in my opinion, 5 phases. They marry a marketing launch phase, believe it or not. This thing got up on this social media journal, and social media advocates who go to read that downloaded it like 4,000 times within the first 4 hours of posting. So what you need to know from there is we're all trying to figure this stuff out together. We are. The best thing you can do is start with your brand in mind, make it strategic, try things. Don't be afraid to try stuff, because this is the beauty of it all. And don't be afraid to admit mistakes. But the most important thing is that first step out the door needs to be strategic, it needs to be thoughtful, and it needs to be backed up by internal readiness. It really does.
I thought in light of the question back there, I'd share an example where we used it. We're not very advanced, I'm with Dannon, but we do listen. And we had an experience where with a reformulation, one of our products, Light and Fit, went up 20 calories. And we were hit with an incredible amount of contacts, and it was very interesting. In a certain period of weeks, 85% of our consumer contacts were email. And part of it was there were a couple of very interesting websites. I don't know if they're websites, I might not be describing them correctly, but one was, I guess, like a blog type thing, three fat chicks on a diet.
Oh yeah, those
And
guys are huge.
a lot of the, a lot of the emails were coming through there, and we decided to insert our voice by, as Dannon, communicating why we made the change, why we think it's the right change. And it was really pretty interesting, because I think it really, whether you like the change or not, at least gave a broader public a rationale for why we did what we did. So it was an interesting experience to see.
So when you reached out, though, you were upfront and transparent that, hey, we're from Dannon, and this is,
Right.
we just want to give you feedback. That's great.
Yeah, and our
That's awesome.
PR director, I actually spoke to the woman that runs this site. So we had an exchange with her, and she was very open and kind of really appreciated the conversation. And she actually then invited her people to, let Dannon know what you think. And so it was a good experience. It was small, but I thought it was a good example.
You make a great point, and going back to having a strategic approach to this. I come from the corporate communications side versus the marketing side of the world, and it's a form of what companies do is that they identify the reporters that they want to build relationships with, and they bring them in once a quarter or something to meet the executives and do a Q&A. More and more companies now, and hopefully a lot of folks in this room are doing it, is not just connecting with key bloggers digitally, but go out and meet them, bring them in. Show them the same respect and attention that you show key reporters, whether they be trade reporters or business reporters, what have you. Bring them to, whatever, to build that relationship, because the world of media is changing very rapidly and very profoundly, and bloggers are today's and tomorrow's journalists. So it's important to build those relationships through multiple dimensions, not just digital.